She was trained to never be seen. Solara moved through the busy city street, but no one noticed her. People walked by, talking, laughing, staring at their phones. Not one of them turned their head. Not one of them saw her. She was invisible, not because of magic, but because of technology. Her kind, the Virulans, had perfected light-bending cloaks, sound-masking suits, and mental-blocking devices. She was trained from birth to stay hidden. She could walk through a crowd, and even cameras would skip over her. Solara had passed hundreds of missions on other worlds. She had watched leaders in war rooms, stolen data from military bases, and even walked inside an alien palace. No one had ever seen her, but Earth. Earth was different. Solara had been warned. Humans are dangerous, her commander had said. They adapt. They learn. They sense what they can't see. She didn't believe that. Not really. Until today, she stood at the edge of a quiet park, watching children play. Her target, a human scientist named Dr. Renner, was sitting on a bench, reading. Solara slowly moved closer, ready to scan his neural patterns. Then it happened. A boy looked right at her. He was sitting on the grass playing with a broken drone. He couldn't have been more than 16. He looked up, and his eyes locked onto hers. Not past her. Not through her. At her. Solara froze. That was impossible. The suit was active. Her mask was perfect. He should not be able to see her. And yet, he smiled. "Hi," he said softly. Solara took a step back. The boy stood up. "Don't be scared," he added. "You don't have to run." She turned around and walked quickly the other way, heart pounding. No one had ever spoken to her while cloaked. She checked her gear. Everything showed green. Full invisibility, sound block, mental shield. Perfect status. Then how? She looked over her shoulder. He was still watching. Back in her hidden ship, deep underground, Solara reported the incident. Her team didn't believe her. "Are you sure he wasn't looking at someone else?" "He said hi to me," she replied. "He looked straight at me. Said I didn't have to run." Silence. Her commander spoke finally. "Abort the mission. We will analyze this anomaly." "But the scientist..." "Forget him. If a human can see you, there's a problem." Solara closed the connection and sat down. Her hands were shaking. This had never happened before. Was the boy special? Or was Earth changing? She opened the video from her suit cam. It showed the boy looking at nothing, just empty grass. According to her gear, she was never there. Yet the boy smiled. He waved. The next day, Solara returned. She had to know. The boy was at the same park. He sat on the same grass. When she approached, he didn't even look up. But then when she was close enough to hear his breath, he said, "Welcome back." Her breath caught. "You really can see me?" she whispered. "Yes," he said calmly. "I've always seen you." She stepped closer. "How?" "I don't know," he shrugged. "But I've seen you for days now, watching people, taking notes. You didn't blink for 8 minutes once." She stared at him. His name was Eli. She would learn that later. For now, she only knew one thing. Her perfect invisibility was broken, and only one human in the entire world could see her. But why? And what else did he see? The boy who could see the invisible, Eli, didn't just see her. He saw through her. Solara stood still in front of him, though the cloak was still on. Anyone else would think she was a breeze in the air. But this boy, this human, he tilted his head as if trying to look beyond her skin and into her thoughts. "Your heart is racing," he said. "Why?" Solara blinked. The mental blocker in her suit should have stopped him from even feeling her emotions. Her own kind couldn't do that. But this boy could. She stepped back. "You shouldn't be able to hear me," she said. Eli didn't answer that. He only said, I knew you'd come back. The next hour passed in silence. Solara followed him. She didn't mean to, but curiosity pulled her along. The boy walked the edge of the city, far from cameras and crowds, past ruined buildings, old factories, and overgrown roads. Then he entered a small building. No doors, no signs, just cracked stone and rusted metal. Inside, the walls were covered in strange markings, symbols no Earth human should know, yet Eli traced them with his fingers. You're not from here, he finally said. But neither am I. Not fully. Solara felt cold. What do you mean? She asked. He turned. I was born here. But sometimes I remember things that I shouldn't. Dreams of stars, battles, ships that fly without sound. And now you appear, just like in those dreams. Solara stepped closer. You're lying. Eli just smiled. Am I? Back in her ship, Solara began to dig. She accessed Earth's databases, looked for Eli, searched every school, hospital, registry. Nothing. Eli didn't exist. He had no ID, no records, no birth certificate, not even a shadow in a government system. She scanned the park area, found signs of residual quantum activity, energy, patterns that weren't human-made. Her eyes widened. That building, she whispered. It's not native to Earth. She had walked into a trap and didn't even know it. But Eli hadn't hurt her. He had only spoken gently. Looked at her like he already knew her. The next day she returned again. This time she turned off her cloak. Eli looked surprised but not afraid. You're actually really tall, he said. Solara blinked. You joke now? He shrugged. Humans laugh when they're confused or scared. Are you scared of me? She asked. No. But I think your people should be scared of me. Solara narrowed her eyes. Why? Eli stepped aside, letting her enter the building again. But this time the walls had changed. They glowed. Symbols shifted and pulsed. Her translator failed. This language, she said slowly, hasn't been spoken in over 12,000 cycles. Eli nodded. But I understand it. How? I think I used to speak it. Before I was born. That night, Solara didn't sleep. Her people believed in logic, in science, not in reincarnation or echo memories. But if Eli was telling the truth, then someone had hidden knowledge inside him. Ancient knowledge. She sent a warning to her command. The boy is not normal. He holds something beyond comprehension. I suggest extraction. Her commander replied quickly, No. Eliminate him. Immediately. Solara stared at the message. Then she looked at the boy's smiling face in her memory, and for the first time, she hesitated. A race that fears the light. Solara's hands hovered over the kill switch. One press. That was all it took. Her suit had a built-in pulse, fast, silent, clean. It would stop the boy's heart instantly. He would drop before he even felt it. But her fingers shook. He was just a boy, wasn't he? Yet when he looked at her, really, she felt like he knew what she was about to do and he wasn't afraid. I had a dream last night, Eli said quietly, not looking at her. You were standing over me. You had light in your hand. And a choice. Solara froze. He couldn't have known that. She hadn't moved. Her kill command had never been activated. But he described it exactly. How do you know that? She asked. I don't, he answered. But I dreamed of a tower full of glass, and a voice told me, the Watchers fear the light. Solara turned pale blue. That was a virulent code phrase, a classified one. Even among her kind, only the inner circle knew it. It meant, the humans are waking up. Later that day, as she flew above the forest canopy in her stealth suit, Solara contacted command again. Her message was simple. I request full memory scan of subject, human, Eli. The reply was colder than usual. No scan, use elimination. The Watchers have decided. That was strange. Her people were obsessed with knowledge. They dissected, questioned, studied every anomaly. But now, they wanted to destroy it? She realized something then. They weren't curious. They were scared. Not of the boy himself, but of what he represented. That night, she didn't return to her ship. She stayed near Eli, not close enough for him to see, but close enough to watch. He seemed normal, laughing, building something in his hands. But as he sat in that abandoned building, glowing symbols began to shine faintly again. He didn't touch them. They responded to him on their own. Solara checked her equipment. Her scanners were blind. Everything inside that structure was blocking Varellan tech. Even her own eyes started to hurt if she stared too long at the symbols. That place didn't belong to Earth. It belonged to something much older. Suddenly her ears rang. She turned fast, too fast. The trees behind her shimmered. The air grew heavy. Something stepped through the shadows. Not human, not Varellan, trackers. She had only seen them once, during the fall of a forbidden colony. Creatures bred to erase problems, no orders, no mercy, just instinct, seek, silence, vanish. They were not part of her team. Someone else had sent them. She activated her cloak. Too late. One of the creatures snapped its head toward her. It smelled her fear. She ran, branches cut her face. Her suit tried to hide her. But the trackers didn't need sight. They followed heat, memory, motion. And worse, they could move between shadows. She stumbled into the clearing near the old building, heart racing. Eli was there. He looked up and didn't flinch. "They found you too," he said. Solara gasped, "Get inside," but he didn't move. He held out his hand instead. The ground trembled. Light surged through the ancient walls and the trackers stopped. For the first time, Solara saw them afraid. They backed into the trees and vanished. "What did you do?" she whispered. "I didn't do anything," Eli said. "The place did." Solara stared at him. "What are you?" He looked at his own hand as if seeing it for the first time. "I think," he said slowly, "I'm a key. When shadows walk in daylight, the next morning the sun rose like any other, but it felt wrong. Too quiet, too bright, too still." Solara stood on a rooftop scanning the city below. Nothing moved. No birds, no dogs, no breeze. As if the world itself was holding its breath. Then she noticed something worse. Shadows were moving, but nothing was casting them. She zoomed in. A shadow glided across a wall, tall, thin, inhuman. But there was no object, no body, no source, just a shape that slid across stone like oil. And it wasn't alone. Eli was waiting at the park again. He was never afraid. Solara dropped beside him, removing her cloak. He didn't even blink. "Something is wrong with the light," she said. "I know," he whispered. "They're coming through it now." "Who?" "The ones behind your trackers. The ones who buried this building. The ones who fear what I might unlock." She narrowed her eyes. "You talk like you're part of them." "I'm not. But they made me once. Or maybe they were trying to stop me before I ever existed." Inside the ancient stone building, something had changed. Symbols on the walls had begun to bleed light, not just glow. And in the center of the room where once there was nothing, now floated a single black cube humming gently. It wasn't touching the ground or the air. It hovered, as if resting between dimensions. Solara stepped back. "This is not human." Eli stepped forward. "But it responds to me." He reached out. Solara grabbed his wrist. "Don't. That could be a lock. Or a trap." He looked at her. "Maybe I'm the only one who can tell the difference." That night the city changed. It didn't fall. It shifted. People walked like puppets. Eyes glazed, faces blank. Solara flew above in full stealth. Her sensors screamed, radiation, pulse waves, static fields. Something was distorting the minds of humans, and worse, the shadows had learned to walk inside them. She watched a little girl smile, and then her smile stretched, warped. Her shadow twisted into something too tall, too thin. It reached across the road and another man collapsed without a sound. This was invasion, but not physical. It was psychological, dimensional, whispers slipping into light. She raced to Eli. He was waiting, always waiting. He had drawn a new symbol in the dirt, a perfect circle with intersecting stars. Zalara's suit scanned it. Warning, her AI said. Symbol matches ancient memory crystal. Origin, pre-galactic era. She knelt. Where did you learn this? I didn't, Eli said. I remembered it this morning. He stood. The cube behind him pulsed. They want to shut it down, he said. That's why the shadows are spreading. They want fear. Fear gives them access. Solara's voice turned cold. Then we fight. Eli shook his head. Not with weapons. She stared. Then with what? With truth, he whispered. The cube suddenly expanded. Without warning, the air bent. Space twisted. Solara's suit failed. Lights blinked. Systems died. She pulled her helmet off. Her vision swam. And then a voice spoke, not out loud, not in sound, but in her mind. You brought him here. You broke the seal. This was your test, Virelan, she gasped. What are you? We are what your kind tried to forget. We are the memory of light. Before, it was weaponized. Then everything stopped. Time froze, and Eli stood alone, eyes glowing faint silver. I remember everything now, he said. I know who I am. Solara took a slow step back. What are you going to do? Eli turned toward her and smiled. Wake up the galaxy. Secrets buried in human blood. Eli didn't sleep that night. He didn't need to. The moment the cube awakened, something inside him unlocked. Not memories, instincts. He could now read the symbols on the walls as if they were carved into his own bones. He knew the names of things never spoken on Earth. He felt ancient power in his blood, but it wasn't alien. It was human. Galara sat outside the building scanning the sky. Her suit had rebooted, but half its systems were still dark. She wasn't alone anymore. Her people had sent a message, not a reply, not orders, just silence. In Virelan code, silence meant only one thing. You are now expendable. She closed her eyes. They feared what she had found. They feared him. But more than that, they feared what it meant for humans. If Eli's blood carried sealed knowledge, how many others might carry fragments? What if all of humanity had been locked on this planet? Their minds sealed, their memories buried, their truth erased. Eli stepped out into the moonlight. His voice was calm. Your people erased us, he said softly. Solara stood. That's not true. We never interfered with... You didn't, he said. But your ancestors did. A long time ago. They came here scared of what humans were becoming. So they hid Earth from the rest of the stars. She blinked. That's impossible. Earth is on all galactic maps. Yes, now. But look at your oldest archives. Earth wasn't listed until after the Wars of Silence. Solara froze. That war had no clear records, just legends, rumors of a threat so great, the stars agreed to forget. Eli walked to a tree and pressed his hand against it. Roots glowed beneath the soil. The cube is just a beacon, he said. But the code it awakened, that's inside me. And maybe inside others too. He looked up at the stars. We weren't meant to be forgotten, Solara spoke slowly. Why are you telling me all this? Because you saw me before I remembered. You didn't kill me. That makes you part of this now. Far above them, a new object entered Earth's orbit. Not Virelan, not human. Something older. The stars around it dimmed. Satellites went silent, and across the city more humans began acting strange, walking in circles, murmuring old words. The light around their bodies shifted unnaturally, as if reality was peeling at the edges. Solara's heart raced. "We're out of time," she said. "If they come here, they won't just erase you, they'll wipe Earth, they'll call it containment." Eli turned. "Then we unlock the last memory." She blinked. "What last memory?" He pointed to his chest. "The one hidden in me. The one they buried before I was born." They returned to the building. The cube now hovered higher, glowing with a soft pulse. Eli stepped beneath it. "Are you ready?" Solara asked. "No," he said. "But it doesn't matter." He placed his hand on the cube. Pain hit him first. A million voices screamed in his skull. Memories not his, but somehow familiar. Wars across galaxies. Starships shaped like gods. Worlds built and burned. Then, Earth. He saw it from space. Green, blue, alive, but surrounded by silence. Something had blocked it from the universe. He saw the ones who did it, his own kind, humans, but not like now, taller, faster, minds brighter than suns. They had chosen to hide themselves, because the galaxy feared what they could become, and so they rewrote their own history, sealed their power into bloodlines, and waited. The cube dimmed. Eli collapsed. Solara caught him. He looked up at her, his voice weak. "We did it to ourselves." She frowned. "What?" "We sealed ourselves away because the galaxy couldn't handle us. And now, we're waking up." Solara whispered. "Then your enemies won't just be aliens, they'll be your own kind." He smiled faintly. "I know." She chose the human over her kind. Solara hovered high above the Earth, her ship hidden in the clouds, watching the Virellan fleet arrive. There were no greetings, no diplomacy, just rows of silent warships in low orbit, positioned like blades pointed at the throat of the planet. Her people had made a decision. Earth would not be allowed to awaken. Not now. Not ever. She clenched her fists. Somewhere below, Eli was still unconscious, recovering from the cube's activation. His DNA had reshaped, his mind rebuilt, layer by layer, until the truth of humanity's forgotten legacy had returned. He didn't choose this war, but now, he was the reason it had begun. Her screen flickered. A direct order appeared. "Virellan, Agent Solara, you are ordered to extract or eliminate the human anomaly. Full orbital strike is authorized in 12 standard hours." She stared at the words. Cold, precise, lifeless. That was her people's way. No questions, no hesitation, just obedience. Solara looked down at the planet. It was flawed, chaotic, unpolished, but it was alive, and Eli. He was part of it now, part of something bigger than species, bigger than war. He had awakened a truth that even the stars had tried to bury. She returned to him. Eli was sitting up now, pale but calm. "They're coming, aren't they?" he asked, without looking. "Yes," she replied. "They gave me one choice, kill you, or let them burn everything." He looked up. His eyes were brighter now, deeper, and still, he didn't show fear. "What will you do?" he asked gently. Solara didn't answer. Instead, she reached into her chest panel, pulled out her command core, and crushed it between her fingers. The signal went dead. No more tracking, no more control, just silence. Eli blinked. "You just committed treason." She nodded. "No, I just chose a side." High above on the Virellan flagship, alarms began to sound. "Agent Solara has severed connection. Tracking signal lost. Unauthorized command break." A pause, then came a new order, colder than the rest. "She is now a defector. Eliminate both targets." On the ground, shadows moved faster. The trackers returned, twice as many this time. But something had changed. Eli didn't flinch when they appeared. He didn't hide. He stood tall, and they paused. One of the creatures snarled. The others hesitated. Eli stepped forward, raising his hand. The cube floated beside him now, silent, watching. "Leave this place," he said softly. One tracker charged. Eli didn't move. A burst of light exploded from the cube, forming ancient geometric patterns in the air. The tracker stopped mid-run, then it screamed, not in pain, but in memory. It dropped to the ground and vanished into dust. Solara stepped beside Eli, shoulder to shoulder. "This is just the beginning," she said. "I know," he whispered. "They'll keep coming. Then I'll keep remembering." He turned to her. "You don't have to stay." She looked at him and smiled. "I've spent my whole life being unseen. Now, for the first time, I want to be seen standing for something." She reached for his hand. "I'm with you." Far above, the fleet's weapons powered up. Dozens of beams targeted the Earth's crust. But in the shadows of ancient Earth, deep underground, beneath the stone building, something else had awakened. Old tech. Older than Virilan's. Older than the war. It responded to him, and it was no longer sleeping. The human who saw through everything. The sky cracked. From every nation, people looked up to see the stars blink out, one by one, as if the universe itself was turning away. High above Earth, the Virilan fleet hovered in silence, weapons locked, warheads primed. Below, standing on ancient soil, were two figures, a traitor from a hidden alien empire, and a human boy who had remembered too much. Eli breathed slowly. The cube floated around him now, no longer pulsing, but singing. A low harmonic hum echoed across the forest, vibrating in the bones of the planet. Solara stepped beside him, armor cracked, weapons dead, but eyes alive. "They will strike soon," she said. "I know," Eli replied. "You can run." "No," he said. "I have to show them." Miles beneath their feet, in Earth's core, something stirred. An ancient machine, older than any alien archive, activated for the first time in 60,000 years. Built not by humans, but by what humans used to be. It recognized Eli's DNA. It recognized his voice. And it opened. Back in orbit, confusion rippled through the fleet. Their scanners blinked. Their target locked, then unlocked. Earth's surface lit up, not with fire but with data. Encrypted waves of unknown code burst from the planet's surface like fireworks. It wasn't a weapon. It was a signal. Every ship, every mind, every system across the Virilan Armada began to receive it. Memories, visions, truth, of humans who once walked the stars, of minds that could bend reality, not with violence, but with willpower, of a choice, forget everything and live safe in darkness. Or remember, and risk becoming something terrifyingly bright. Eli stepped forward. The air around him shimmered. He looked like a boy, but in his eyes, time turned like galaxies. The trackers fell to their knees, not in pain, but in recognition. "Why? Don't you fight?" Solara asked him, watching the sky darken with the fleet's final charge. "Because fighting is what they expect," Eli said. "But I can show them something more dangerous." "What?" He turned to her. "Hope." The Virelans fired. 12 beams screamed through the atmosphere, burning brighter than the sun. But before they hit the Earth, they stopped. Not in midair. In mid-thought. The beams froze, suspended above the surface like golden spears held by invisible hands. Eli lifted his hand, and time collapsed. Not stopped. Rewritten. The weapons unraveled piece by piece, falling as harmless particles of light across the sky. The fleet went silent, and in that silence every Virelan officer heard a message. "You tried to erase us, but we are memory, we are light, and we are awake now." On the ground, Solara dropped to her knees, not in defeat but in awe. "You didn't destroy them," she whispered. "No," Eli said. "I showed them the truth. What we were, what we still can be." She looked at him, tears in her eyes. "Then it's over?" Eli shook his head. "No, it's just beginning." In the days that followed, the Virulans did not return. But messages did. Other species, other empires, ones who had once feared Earth. They began to remember too. Not all. Humans were like Eli, but enough were. The seeds had been planted. Across Earth, more and more began dreaming of stars, of ships, of knowledge never taught in schools. The human race was changing again, and this time, it would not be stopped. Solara stayed, not because she had to, but because she chose to. She walked beside the one human who refused to forget, the one who had seen everything and still chose to protect Eli, the boy who remembered.